Tulsa is on fire again. Power, greed, and revenge are spreading through the streets like smoke. Dwight Manfredi thought he had everything under control. But episode 3 of Tulsa King proves that in this city, no one stays on top for long. The empire he built is starting to shake, and every friend might just be the next enemy. This episode opens the door to betrayal, hidden deals, and a new player who's ready to take Dwight down from the inside. The episode begins with silence, the kind that feels heavy, the kind that warns you something bad is about to happen. The camera moves through Tulsa's empty streets at dawn. Streetlights flicker, a train horn echoes far away, and the world feels calm, but you can sense trouble hiding underneath. Dwight stands alone, looking out over the city. He's wearing that same black jacket, the one that's seen more danger than comfort. You can almost feel the weight on his shoulders. He built something big here, something powerful. But power attracts enemies, and Dwight knows that better than anyone. The scene shifts to his bar, the Goodnight, where his crew is already arguing. Everyone's on edge after what happened in the last episode. Someone messed up a deal with a local gang, and now money's missing. Dwight doesn't yell, he never does, but his silence speaks louder than any threat. He stares at each of them, and you can feel their fear. He's not just angry, he's disappointed. In his world, that's worse. The tension in the room is so thick it could break a glass. Bodhi tries to explain, saying it wasn't their fault, that someone else interfered, but Dwight doesn't buy it. He's been in this game too long to believe in coincidences. He walks slowly to the counter, pours himself a drink, and says, "If someone's playing games with my business, I'll find them, and they'll wish I didn't." It's not a shout, it's calm, almost cold. That's what makes it scary. His crew looks at him, not sure whether to speak or stay silent. Then, he simply walks out, leaving them to wonder what's coming next. Outside, Tulsa feels alive again, cars passing, people walking, life moving like nothing's wrong. But under that normal surface, there's danger. Dwight walks down the street, lost in thought. He remembers his old life in New York, the loyalty, the betrayal, the years he spent in prison for people who forgot his name. He came to Tulsa to start over, but episode 3 reminds us that you can't run from your past. It always finds you, even in a quiet Oklahoma town. Then comes the first big reveal. A rival group, one Dwight thought was long gone, is back stronger, more organized, and this time, they're not just after his business. They're after him. The episode builds tension through small moments, a car following Dwight at a distance, an envelope left on his doorstep, a phone call that cuts off before anyone speaks. Every detail adds a layer of mystery. You start to feel like you're being watched too. As the sun sets, the camera lingers on Dwight sitting alone at his bar, staring at that same envelope. He doesn't open it, not yet. He just sits there, quiet, with a look that says he already knows what's inside. Maybe it's a warning. Maybe it's a message from someone he trusted. Whatever it is, it's the beginning of something bigger, something that could change everything for him. The music fades into a slow, haunting rhythm. Episode 3 doesn't rush. It lets you breathe in the tension, the silence, the waiting. It's not about big action scenes, it's about pressure building under the surface, ready to explode. And by the time the first act ends, you can tell this isn't just another episode. It's the start of a war, one that will test Dwight's loyalty, his strength, and the limits of what he's willing to do to protect what's his. The calm never lasts long in Tulsa. By the time the next morning hits, the city is already buzzing with rumors. Something big went down last night, and everyone knows Dwight's name is somehow in the middle of it. The streets talk faster than the news. Every diner booth and bar corner has whispers about a deal gone wrong, about someone new stepping into town. Dwight, sitting in his office, listens without reacting. He's seen it all before, but even for him, this time feels different. This isn't just business anymore, it's personal. The episode moves with quiet tension. Dwight meets with Stacy, who's trying to warn him about a new investigation coming his way. She tells him the FBI's been asking questions again, digging into his old connections. But she's more nervous than usual, almost avoiding his eyes. Dwight senses it immediately. She's hiding something. He doesn't push her though. He just nods, keeps his voice calm, and says, "They can dig all they want. Just make sure they don't find anything that bites you, too." It's a warning wrapped in care, the kind only Dwight can give. Later, we see Bodhi in his tech shop, staring at the screens. His systems are being hacked slowly, carefully, by someone who knows what they're doing. He tries to track the signal, but it leads nowhere. Just a blank address outside of Tulsa. He calls Dwight right away, telling him someone's coming after their money pipeline. Dwight doesn't panic. He's too old for that. Instead, He lights a cigar, takes a slow drag, and says, "Then it's time we remind them whose city this is." That's when you realize Dwight isn't going to wait for trouble to find him. He's going hunting. The middle of the episode turns into a chess game. Dwight starts moving quietly, sending his guys out, calling in old favors, checking every corner of his operation. He knows that power isn't about shouting or showing force. It's about control. While his rivals spread chaos, Dwight keeps his cool. He meets with Armand, the man who once betrayed him but now claims loyalty. The meeting is heavy with unspoken tension. Dwight asks for information. Armand gives it, but his eyes shift too much. He's scared, not of Dwight, but of someone else. That's when Dwight knows. This enemy isn't local. Someone from outside Tulsa is pulling the strings. The script paints this part like a slow storm. You can feel it building. Every phone call, every look, every step Dwight takes adds another layer of danger. He visits a warehouse where one of his deliveries was hijacked. The place is wrecked, boxes broken, money missing, blood on the floor. Dwight looks around quietly, noticing small details. A cigarette butt, a shoe print, a smell of cheap cologne. Clues no one else would see. He's not just a gangster, he's a man who's survived too long to miss the little things. He kneels down, touches the floor, and whispers, "You made your move. Now it's mine." Meanwhile, Tulsa's underworld is shifting. Gangs that used to fear Dwight are starting to talk about joining forces against him. The idea of taking down the general is too tempting for some. Episode 3 shows quick glimpses, a deal being made in a dark alley, a handshake between two rivals, money sliding across a table. It's all happening behind Dwight's back, but he's already 3 steps ahead. He always is. Then, in one of the most chilling moments of the episode, Dwight walks into a meeting of his closest allies. The atmosphere is thick with fake smiles. He sits down, quiet as ever, then opens the envelope he's been carrying since the start of the episode. Inside are photos, clear, recent, detailed. His men, his crew, meeting with the rival gang. His expression doesn't change, but the silence in the room does. Everyone freezes. No one knows what he's thinking. Then, slowly, Dwight looks up and says, "I gave you all a second chance. Don't make me regret it." The room goes dead still. He leaves without another word. No shouting, no threats, just that quiet authority that makes everyone realize he's dead serious. As he walks out, the camera lingers on the faces of his crew. Fear, guilt, confusion. You can feel the cracks forming. Dwight's empire isn't just being attacked from the outside, it's breaking apart from within. As the section ends, the camera pulls back to show Dwight driving through the city at night. Tulsa's neon lights reflect on his face, and for a moment, you see something different in his eyes, not anger, but disappointment. He built this family, and now it's slipping away. He mutters to himself, "You can't trust anyone who wants a piece of your peace." The line stays with you. It sums up everything Tulsa King stands for: loyalty, betrayal, and the heavy price of power. The scene fades to black with the sound of distant thunder. The storm Dwight's been sensing is finally here, and he knows the next move will decide everything: who stays, who falls, and whether the King of Tulsa can survive another war. The night in Tulsa feels heavier than usual. The streets are wet from a late evening storm, and the reflections of red and blue lights dance on the puddles like restless ghosts. Dwight drives slowly through the dark, his face lit by the faint glow of the dashboard. The city seems quieter, emptier, as if it knows a reckoning is coming. Every shadow feels alive. Every silence feels like a warning. He's not running anymore. He's heading straight into the heart of the problem. The confrontation begins not with a gunfight, but with a meeting. A quiet, controlled meeting, the kind that can change everything with just a few words. Dwight calls for all his top men to gather at an abandoned auto shop on the edge of town. The place smells like oil and dust, the air thick with tension. No one says a word when he walks in. His boots echo against the concrete floor, slow and deliberate. He doesn't need to shout for attention. The sound of his steps is enough. Dwight stops in the middle of the room and looks at each face. These are men who once swore loyalty to him, men who built his empire brick by brick. But tonight, their eyes tell a different story. Guilt, fear, doubt. He can see it all. He holds the same envelope from before, now crumpled, stained from the rain. Without saying a word, he drops it on the table. The photos spill out, betrayal caught in still frames. Every man in the room looks down, then up again, but no one dares to speak. "You know," Dwight begins, his voice low, almost tired, "when I came here, I didn't want to build another family. I just wanted peace. But I gave you all a shot. I trusted you." He pauses, his eyes sharp. "And this is how you repay me." No one answers. The only sound is the buzzing of a flickering light overhead. Then one of the men, Ricky, the youngest in the crew, finally speaks up. "It wasn't us, boss. They came to us first. Said you were done. Said you were out." His voice shakes. Dwight takes a deep breath, steps closer, and says, "If I was done, kid, you wouldn't be standing here talking." It's not anger in his tone, it's disappointment, mixed with that deep, quiet rage that only men like Dwight carry. He turns away, pacing slowly, trying to control the storm inside him. "You think they care about you?" he asks. "You think these outsiders know the first thing about loyalty, the first thing about surviving?" He stops, glancing back. "They'll use you till you're empty. Then leave your body in a ditch off Route 66. That's their kind of loyalty." The men stay silent. They know he's right. That's when the door creaks open, and a new voice cuts through the air. "Maybe that's exactly what you deserve, Dwight." The room turns. A man steps out of the shadows, Vince, an old associate from New York. The one Dwight thought was dead. His grin is sharp, his suit expensive, his eyes full of bad history. "Vince," Dwight mutters, almost in disbelief. "You've got some nerve showing up here." Vince shrugs. "You built something nice here, old man, but you forgot everything you touch eventually burns." He steps closer, smirking. "And I'm here to make sure this one burns bright." The two men stand face to face, years of history between them. Betrayals, favors, broken promises. Dwight doesn't flinch. "You always were a coward," he says calmly. "Hiding behind money, behind other people. You never had the guts to face me like this before." Vince laughs softly. "Maybe, but this isn't New York anymore. You don't have protection here. You've got a bunch of scared kids pretending to be gangsters. You think you can run Tulsa like you ran Brooklyn." Dwight takes a step forward, closing the space between them. His voice drops to a whisper. "I don't run Tulsa. Tulsa runs on me." The silence after that line is thick. Then, like thunder breaking, fists fly. The confrontation explodes into chaos. No fancy music, no slow motion, just raw, real violence. Tables crash, glass shatters, metal clangs. Dwight moves like a man who's done this too many times. He's older, slower, but still deadly. Vince swings first. Dwight dodges, lands a hard hit to his jaw. The others try to intervene, but Dwight's glare freezes them in place. This fight isn't about business. It's about pride. After a brutal few moments, Vince hits the ground, blood on his lip, still smiling. "You think you've won." He spits. "You have no idea what's coming." Dwight doesn't answer. He just stares down, breathing heavy but steady. The sound of rain outside grows louder, as if the whole city is watching. Then Dwight turns to his men, voice cold and final. "You all have a choice. Stay with me, or get buried with him." No one moves for a few seconds. Then one by one, they step forward. No words, just nods. Loyalty restored for now. Dwight looks back at Vince, still lying on the floor. "Tell your boss," he says. "If he wants Tulsa, he better come himself." He walks out into the rain, leaving the auto shop behind. The camera follows him as he lights a cigar, the flame reflecting in his eyes. The thunder rolls again, echoing through the empty streets. The war Vince promised isn't over, it's only just begun. And Dwight knows this time, there's no walking away clean. Not from this city, not from his past, not from himself. As the section closes, the music swells softly, low drums. A hint of blues guitar, the kind that sounds like the calm before another storm. Tulsa's king is still standing, but the ground beneath him is starting to crack. And for the first time, Dwight Manfredi doesn't look untouchable. He looks human, tired, haunted, and ready to fight one last war to keep what's his dot. The morning after the confrontation. Tulsa feels uneasy, like a city holding its breath. The storm has passed, but the sky is still gray, heavy with leftover anger. The streets are slick with rain, the kind that makes everything shine, but that shine feels false. Like a mask hiding something rotten underneath. Dwight stands outside the Goodnight, his bar, staring at the sign flickering above him. The place that once felt like home now feels like a battlefield. The fight from last night didn't end anything. It only started something bigger. Inside, the bar is quiet. Broken chairs, cracked bottles, blood smeared on the floor, reminders of how quickly things can fall apart. Dwight walks in slowly, scanning the damage. Every sound, the creak of a floorboard, the hum of a fridge, echoes louder than it should. He doesn't need to speak. The silence says enough. His mind isn't on the mess in front of him. It's on what comes next. Vince's words still ring in his head. "You have no idea what's coming." He knows Vince wasn't bluffing. A man like that doesn't show up unless there's real power behind him. Dwight's been through wars before. He's seen how they start, slow and quiet, like a fuse burning under the surface. The difference now is that this isn't just about territory, it's about survival. Vince wants to tear down everything Dwight built, his name, his reputation, his peace. And worse, he's got people in Dwight's own city helping him do it. The episode slows down here. Focusing on Dwight's isolation, he drives through Tulsa alone, passing familiar places that suddenly look strange. The diner where he used to meet his crew now has new faces. The alley where he once made deals now has new cars parked there. It's like the city is turning its back on him, piece by piece. Even the music in the background feels different, lower, darker, with a hint of sadness creeping through the tension. Dwight stops by the river, standing under a bridge where he once had his first Tulsa meeting. He lights a cigar, staring at the slow-moving water. His reflection ripples, distorted, unstable, just like his world. For the first time, he looks unsure. You can see the years catching up with him. The man who always had control is finally realizing he might not this time. He whispers to himself, "Funny thing about peace. The moment you think you got it, someone comes along to take it away." Meanwhile, the episode cuts between scenes showing the city reacting to the chaos. Cops investigating the auto shop. News reports about a possible gang conflict. People in the streets whispering Dwight's name again, half in fear, half in curiosity. Everyone's wondering if the so-called Tulsa King has finally lost his crown. But Dwight isn't sitting still. He visits Stacy again, this time not for information, but for a warning. She's nervous, pacing in her office. He tells her, "Whatever you're mixed up in, walk away now. You don't want to be standing in the crossfire when this thing blows." She looks at him, eyes full of guilt. "It's too late, Dwight," she says softly. "They already know everything." The words hit him like a gunshot. He doesn't react. But the camera stays on his face, the quiet pain of a man who just realized the enemy is closer than he thought. Back at the bar, Bodhi tells him the worst news yet. Their accounts are frozen. Every cent they've made is gone. "They hit us from the inside," Bodhi says, panicked. Dwight leans against the counter, silent for a long time. Then finally mutters, "They're not after the money. They're after control." His tone is calm, but his eyes say something else. He's planning his next move. That night, Dwight sits alone in his office. The lights are dim, and the rain starts again, tapping against the window like a ticking clock. He pulls out an old photo from his drawer, him and his daughter, smiling before everything went bad. It's the only moment of peace he's ever had, and it's long gone. He puts the photo away, straightens up, and makes a call. "Get everyone ready," he says into the phone. "We're not waiting for them to make the next move." The final scene of episode 3 is pure tension. The camera follows Dwight as he walks out of the goodnight and steps into the street. A car drives by slowly, headlights cutting through the rain. The window rolls down just enough for a hand to drop an envelope at his feet, the same kind of envelope that started all of this. He bends down, picks it up, opens it. Inside is a single piece of paper with 5 words written in black ink. "You were never the king." Dwight's face doesn't change, but his jaw tightens. The rain starts pouring harder, soaking his coat, his hair, his cigar still burning in the corner of his mouth. He looks up at the sky, then straight into the camera, the look of a man who's done playing defense. The music builds a mix of low drums and strings until it cuts to black. The episode ends not with an answer, but with a promise. Tulsa is no longer a place of opportunity. It's a war zone, and Dwight Manfredi is standing right in the middle of it. The final shot leaves you wondering not if he'll survive, but what he'll lose to win.